Hi everyone, Anthony Morganti here. Recently, Adobe updated Lightroom. In today's video, we're going to take a look at what's new and exciting, not only in Lightroom, but in Lightroom Classic as well. And we're going to begin with Lightroom Classic. If you've ever wondered what's new in Lightroom Classic, you could find out by going up to the Help menu and down to What's New. When you do that, you'll get this box telling you what has been added in the last update. And you can see the last update was February of 2026, and they've only added 3 things, but we're going to go through them nonetheless. First of all, there's model improvements. Specifically, the assisted culling feature has been improved to offer more accurate results for increased productivity, and I will talk about that more in a moment. They've added WebP file support. If you're not familiar with WebP files, it's an image file type, similar to a JPEG or a TIFF or a PSD file. It's just another file type. Now you could open, edit, and sync WebP photos from within Lightroom Classic. And they've added Generate using Firefly. You could send photos to Adobe Firefly to do creative prompt-based edits or to turn a photo into a video. And I'm going to demo that in this video. Now, let's start out with the model improvements to assisted culling. If you're not familiar, assisted culling is in the library module on the right-hand panel. It was added a few months ago. And when you open it, by default, it will automatically go through all of the images that are in the folder that you have active. So all the images that are in the film strip, and it will go through them and find images that have, let's say, people with their eyes closed or their face isn't showing, or images that will blurry, and it will use AI then to help you cull those images. Now, the improvements that they've done are all under the hood. So now this works more accurately and a bit faster. There's nothing different as far as the actual tab is concerned. So it's going to look exactly the same way. One thing you'll notice though, when I opened it, I got this warning up here telling me that to enable AI analysis in catalog settings to use assisted culling. That's because by default it's on, in that whenever you open this tab, it's automatically then going to start going through the images in the folder. I don't like it doing that, so I turn that feature off, and I'll show you how to do that. The reason why I did that is because I am often shooting images that have people in them, a lifestyle shot, engagement shot, or a wedding or something. So I'll have an entire folder of images that have people in it, and I want to use the assisted culling feature. And when I open that tab, it would go through all those images and help me cull them. The thing, though, is I'll kind of be done with it, and maybe a week later, I'll go in Lightroom, and I accidentally left this tab open, and I go to a folder of landscape images, and it's going through those images and chugging away, and I don't want it doing that. I only want it to work when I want it to work. So I've turned that feature off in catalog settings. To do that, if you'd like to do that, go to catalog settings. On a Mac, it's under the Lightroom Classic menu. On a PC, it's under the Edit menu. When you go to catalog settings, go to the metadata tab, and then down here, assisted culling. By default, you'll have this one checked. Analyze photos of selected source when the assisted culling panel is open. Again, that means as soon as you open that panel, it's going to start working. I don't want it doing that, so I turn that off. On the other hand, if you're mainly photographing images that have people in them, you may prefer to have this second option checked. That means it's going to go through your entire catalog. No matter what folder you're in, it's going to go through the entire catalog, and it's going to help you cull those images using AI. When you import new images, it will automatically go through those images as well. Again, I never wanted to do that, so I have that unchecked. So when I do need to use assisted culling, I will go here and turn this on and use it, and then when I'm done, I'll turn it off. Again, the only reason I do that is because I often just have this tab open for whatever reason and not realize it, and I'll be in a folder of 400 landscape images, and all of a sudden it's going through those landscape images. It would help me auto stack them, but I don't use auto stacking. But since most landscapes won't have any people in them, it's a waste of time doing that, so I just don't want it doing that. So that's the assisted culling feature. Now, what about Firefly? They now integrated it within Lightroom Classic. To get to it, go up to the File menu and then down to Generate using Firefly. And you see you have the two options, Edit a Photo or Generate a Video from Photo. Let's go to Edit Photo. So what it will do is it will take this image, it will open up my web browser. It will go to the Firefly website, and it will open this image in that website. Now I could do things, some generative things to this image that you used to be able, or you still could do in Photoshop. For example, I could add birds to the sky, or I could add a boat to the water, or I could add, a person on the rocks or something like that. I could do all that now from here. So I was in Lightroom Classic. I didn't have to go to Photoshop to do it. I didn't have to export the image and go to Firefly on the internet to do it. I could access it from within Lightroom Classic. Now, you do have some options at the bottom, and it will tell you how many credits these options will eat up. For example, by default, it's going to go to Gemini 2.5 with Nano Banana, and on this image, it's going to cost me 10 credits. If I go to the dropdown, you can see there's several different models. If I go to the Firefly image, I think that's the same, 10 credits. But if I go to one of the newer Gemini models, say Gemini 3.1 with Nano Banana, you can see that now it's 40 credits. So it went up considerably. So I could change the model. And when you change the model, it often will change the number of credits that it will cost you. I found that usually the Gemini 2.5 would work well, although I don't do this that often to be an expert on it. So I would go with that for this image, let's say. And then you have the ratio. It's always going to show a default of 4:3, but most often, at least most people that I know, use a camera that shoots in a 3:2 ratio. So you may not want it to automatically crop your image. So I would suggest then you go to the 3:2 ratio for that type of image. And of course, then you have your image here. It's going to cost us 10 credits. Now we got to tell it what to do. Well, let's say I want to add a canoe to the water. All right. And then we'll click generate. Now it's just going to cost me 10 credits. If it does a lousy job, there's no way that I know of that you could get those 10 credits back. Now, I suppose if you messaged Adobe somehow and you complained and you were a squeaky enough wheel, they would, oil you and they'd give you your 10 credits back, I guess. But there's no official way that I know of that you could say, hey, you did a horrible job, or this did a horrible job. I need my credits back. You can see it did an okay job if that's something you want. Now, this isn't really tightly integrated in Lightroom Classic, meaning I can't just close down this browser window or something and it's all of a sudden that image is going to appear in Lightroom Classic. All I really could do is share it from here or download it. When I download it, it will download it to my computer, to most often your download folder, unless you change the defaults on your computer. So it's in my download folder. If I really want to get this inside of Lightroom Classic, I have to import it in Lightroom like any other image. So that's the image part of it. What about the video part of it? Let's go to this image of my mom. This was taken way before I was born. I think she was around 19 or 20 years old. She was on a beach in Florida, and I actually animated this image in the past, and it actually came out pretty good. So let's do it from within Lightroom Classic. Again, we're going to go up to File, and then we're going to go down to Generate using Firefly, and then Generate Video from Photo. Now, videos cost considerably more credits, and it really depends, too, on what model you use. Now, here on the left-hand side, we do have the settings. On the lower right-hand side, we have the number of credits it's going to cost you. Using the default VO 3.1 fast model, it's going to cost 80 credits to generate a video. With that model, you have options of 720p or 1080. Let's say you do 1080. You could do widescreen 16:9 or vertical. Let's say I want to do vertical. Then once you have the vertical, you can move it around or crop it. Say something like that, right? And then it's going to be 24 frames per second. Now, this will vary by model, but with this model, I have the option to do a 4, 6, or an 8-second video. Let's say I want to do that 8-second video. And then do I want it to generate audio as well? And that, I found, doesn't cost any more credits, at least with the little bit I played with it. You can see right now it's 80 credits. If I go to audio, it's still 80 credits. So that's cool. But it can get really expensive as far as credits are concerned. For example, if I go to this drop down and I go to Firefly video, when I go to Firefly video, it's 500 credits. Now there's other options. There's this 3.1 that isn't the fast. It defaulted to the fast. If we go to the 3.1, it's 400 credits. If I go to this Runway Gen 4.5, it's 175 credits. If I go to Ray 3 HDR, now it's starting to blink. I found this happen. You see how it's kind of messing up? There's nothing I could do to get it out of this. It just won't. See, I'm clicking this, it's closing right down. So I'm actually kind of glad it did this while I was doing this, because there's nothing you could do now. You have to close this down and start over again. And I tried it not only in my Chrome browser, but I tried it in my Safari browser, and it did the exact same thing. So sometimes when you're jumping around between different models, it will mess up like this. Now, this might have something to do with my computer. Maybe my graphics card is making it act flaky. I don't know. So you might encounter this. But I prepared for this in case this happened, is I already generated this. And what I did to generate it is I used the default VO 3.1 fast. It cost me 80 credits. I think I'm pretty sure I did 1080p. I did the vertical as I did now, and I did 8 seconds on the duration. So I'll show it to you. It actually did an okay job. So if I minimize everything I have open, I have it right on my desktop right here. And I'll move Mom over here in the middle. And you can see now it's kind of showing the image where it's kind of really blurry and old. I mean, it's probably from shortly after World War I or World War II. My mom wasn't that old, and I'm not that old. So we'll hit play. But then you can see it clears up. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. And it generated the audio fine, and it has the wind and noise and the waves hitting the beach, crashing on the beach. I thought it did a pretty good job. But again, cost you 80 credits if you want to do it. You could do that, or you could access the feature from within Lightroom Classic. And again, it's not integrated in Lightroom. When you download the video won't automatically be imported into Lightroom. Not that many people import videos in Lightroom Classic as it is. But you'd have to download it, and then if you want it in Lightroom Classic, maybe just use the catalog features in Lightroom Classic for your short videos. You'd have to import it. So that's really all the new features in Lightroom Classic. All those features I showed you are in Lightroom, plus there's a couple more. So if we go over now to Lightroom, and if you, again, want to see what's new in Lightroom since the last update, go up to the Help menu and then down to What's New. Now you can see there are a couple other things. We have this Generative upscale with Topaz Gigapixel. I'm going to demo how to do that. We have the edit with Firefly, just like exactly the same thing that's in Lightroom Classic. And I'll show you where to find it inside of Lightroom. I'm not going to go demo it all. We have those assisted culling improvements. Same exact thing. They're all under the hood improvements. The tab looks exactly the same, and it works exactly the same as physically making it work. But again, it's supposedly faster and more accurate. This is unique to Lightroom, so this obviously wouldn't be in Lightroom Classic. You could copy directly to an album from a local folder. That might not sound like much, but I really welcome that, because it was very difficult, if not just time-consuming. If you had a local folder and you had an image and you wanted to have it in an album, you had to go through a lot of steps to get it in that album. Now, it's very easy to do, and I'll show you how to do that. We have that same WebP support that's in Lightroom Classic. We have performance improvements. This is always welcome. We have made significant improvements to the speed of interactive editing on photos with large masks, upright in geometry, red eye removal, the masking brush, and the remove tool have all received performance boosts. So that's always welcome, and they've added new camera and lens support. But let's talk about, first of all, the edit in Firefly. Where is that inside of Lightroom? Well, that's over here in this little export like icon. Click on that, and then towards the bottom you have the same options that you had in Lightroom Classic. You could edit the image or generate a video, and again, it's not going to open inside of Lightroom. It's going to open up your web browser the exact same way and the exact same features. So I'm not going to demo it again. So that's there. Now, what about if I wanted to, I'm in a local folder. What if I wanted to get this into an album? Now it's super easy to do. Over here, just these 3 dots, click here, and I could copy one photo to album, and I have 2 albums working right now, so I could copy it to either of these albums very, very easily. So that's nice. Just like I said, it's a little feature, but I really welcome that feature. Now, the other stuff, it has that culling improvements. I'm not going to demo that. And it has the WebP file support as well. I'm not going to demo that. But what about this new improved gigapixel expand feature? You would use that on an image such as this. If I go to the crop tool here, you'll notice that this is a heavily cropped image. And then if I go down here and click the little eye button down there, you can see that it's 1162 by 1743. So it's very low resolution. If I wanted to get a high quality large print, I wouldn't be able to because it's too low of a resolution. So I would have to upscale it, and that's where this gigapixel comes in. It will allow you to upscale this, and then you'll be able to get a large print that is of high quality. By the way, if you're wondering like what resolution image you would need to get a specific size print that is of high quality, I have a print resolution PDF that you could download from my website. I'll have a link to it in the description below this video. Of course, it's totally free. So I'll have that linked in the description below the video. Now, as far as getting this image upscaled, I want to make it bigger than 1162 by 1743. To do that, what you would do is go to Photo, and then you would go down to Generative Upscale. When you do that, it will open the image up into this dialog box. So it's staying on your computer. It's not going up to Adobe servers, but it opens this box, I should say, not that it opens your image up in the box. It opens the box, and you can see it's using Topaz Gigapixel. See this little crown here? That means it's using premium credits. The nice thing about this being integrated, though, in Lightroom as opposed to the way it's integrated in Photoshop is it actually shows you the credits it's going to take, and it will show you your credit balance. So it shows you how many credits you have left. And if you need to buy more, you could do so with the buy button. Now, you could upscale it 2x or 4x, and really that's the only option you have. Those of you that own Gigapixel know that Gigapixel is really full-featured application. There are several different models. For example, there's a model that is for low-resolution JPEGs. There's another model that's for graphic art. There's another model for like just kind of normal images that aren't really low resolution, but they're not really that big either. There's all these different models, and you could pick a model that would work best on your image. Now, you don't have those options here. You just does what it does, and you're kind of stuck with it. And again, it's going to use 10 credits for a 2x upscale. And if it doesn't do a good job, there's no way that I know of to get those credits back. If you go to 4x, it's going to cost 20 credits. So you could see in a 4x will give me a final size of 4648 by 6972. And that would give me a very high quality, large print, I'm sure of it. So that's what will upscale it. So let's do that. So that's all you have is those two like check boxes, basically, and you click upscale. And then what it will do is it will, as far as I know, stay on your computer. It doesn't send the image up to Adobe servers. It's staying on your computer, and it's doing all this work. You can see there's a progress bar in the upper left. Now, how fast it goes really depends on your computer. I would imagine that it has a lot to do with your graphics card and how fast your graphics card might be and how much graphics memory you have. Some computers, it might go very, very, very slowly. As a matter of fact, I know it does because I've had people email me and complain when it was integrated it's still integrated in Photoshop in a similar way. But it sometimes, for some people and some PCs mainly that are older, it really takes a very, very long time. You can see even on my iMac, which is, I think, less than a year old, it took quite a while. Now, the progress bar is gone, but nothing's really changed. We're looking at the image. It's still 1162 by 1743. That's because it's non-destructive. It doesn't touch the original RAW file. So if I open up the film strip, you can see I now have another image down here. It's a RAW file, a DNG file. And if I click on that, it still looks the same, which is, but it is now 4648 by 6972. So it has been upscaled. So now if I want to get a very large print, maybe a 36 by 24, 24 by 36, like I could do it because this should be a high enough resolution to get a pretty good print that size. So again, if you want that print resolution PDF, I'll have a link to it in the description below this video. Again, it's totally free. You can just download it and print it out at home. So that's really everything that's new, not only in Lightroom, but in Lightroom Classic. Thank you, everyone who watches my videos. I really do appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon.